Welcome to So Guided, a spiritual travel guide for the curious. Join Carissa and Jenny, ordinary people exploring all the extraordinary ways we can connect to the universe. Each week, they investigate another spiritual modality and adventure through all the wild ways we can find high vibes, hope, and ultimately, enlightenment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of So Guided. Today is our season 1 wrap-up, and we're going to go through a list of all the cool aha moments that we've had over the past 2 years of recording. We've had so many amazing things happen, and we're going to share the big takeaways. You've got questions? So do we. Let's do this.
Oh my goodness. We are about to talk about our very last episode of the season. I'm so excited to talk today. Carissa has come up with a list of the things we learned during the year.
Yep.
Our aha moments, what has resonated with us, and I can't wait to hear it. I haven't heard it, and I can't wait for you to walk us through.
Okay.
However, to start us off with our woo-woo, we couldn't have a better end the season woo-woo.
A joint woo-woo.
A joint woo-woo.
A joint woo-woo.
We are sharing the woo-woo today. And this one is that probably, 6 months to a year ago, we asked about our podcast and if it was supported, and in a tarot deck, or actually an oracle deck, and we pulled the guardian angel card.
Yep.
And
it was right around the time, it was that day that Clara came to us in the episode, and afterwards we're like, was that real? And we pulled the card. We pulled the card out of the deck. We asked, like, Clara, are you really here? And we pulled the guardian angel card and freaked out, and it was the most amazing thing.
And we had just identified a name that we were both drawn to, which is Clara.
Yep.
So if you heard the episode, we did it. It happened while we were talking to you guys in our spirit guide angel episode. In any case, we now, here
Talk
we are.
to her.
We're out of our woo-woo closet this year.
Yeah, we talked to her.
But before every podcast, we say, Clara, come, help us speak our truth and authenticity. And we say a little prayer to Clara now. So here we are. My goodness, we're out. We're out of the closet now. Jesus. Anyway, so to start today's episode,
Talk to Clara.
We're really sharing now. You guys have made us feel safe, I guess.
Yeah.
So today, like every other day, we do it, and we actually pulled the deck we hadn't pulled out in a very long time. We usually try other decks, and you said, "Let's go get this from the other room."
Yep. I said I needed a card. I'm like, before we start our last episode, we need a card. I feel like we need a good card, and I was like, we want to make this exciting and fun, and we're excited. It is our last episode of the season, so grab the deck and said a little prayer to Clara.
And we pull Guardian Angel.
The exact card
We pulled last time.
We freaked out. We're like, this is unbelievable, but of course it is believable because we're here.
Here we are.
So we have a joint woo-woo, and we're psyched, and we feel super
supported
and guided. We feel so guided.
We really do.
Thank
you.
Thank
you, universe.
So so we're excited, and Jenny made a good point. We're kind of gonna finish the season how we started it, with a list. And this list is a little different because it's something that I came up with myself just looking back on the 2 years of the journey and of recording. And so I'm going to share a list. Jenny is going to be adding her kind of 2 cents and what her thoughts are too. But basically, I want to do a culmination of some of the cool things. Some are small, some are big, that have stuck with me throughout the journey, and just some things I think are so cool. So number 1 on my list is that your birthday is a big angel number. So I had never even known this. I always knew 1111 is a big number, 888, all these numbers. But if you see your birthday, and mine's 11/2, so 11/02, anytime I see that, I know you're in exactly the right spot where you're meant to be, that you were born at the exact right time, that you're in the exact right reincarnation. So I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that either. I just thought I had a lucky birthday. Yeah. I am 11/11.
Well, yeah, that's why it's always weird to talk to you about the birthday.
I'm a weird one with the birthday, but I love that you and anyone could feel supported with a number I wouldn't have even thought could be something.
Right.
Whether it's on a license plate, on a clock, on a receipt.
Yeah.
I love the cheerleader moments from the universe, and this is one of them.
Well,
hi, you're in the right spot.
And what I've done too now, knowing that, is like when I see 211, which is my grandma's, I think of something, like I think of the right spot. Now I use my kids' birthdays as another angel number. So I love that one. So
wait, before I know you're going to go run off to the number 2, one thing I have to say that's lovely about the angel numbers, even generally, that once we talked about it, that's probably one of the things people reach out to me the most about for our show is angel numbers. Everyone loves them and the paying attention to them now. So anyway, just wanted to acknowledge that. That was a big hit. People like the numbers.
Good. All right, number 2 is we are not just our sun sign, we are also a moon and rising. So our sun sign is the sign that we feel like we all know from our horoscopes. Like you and I are both Scorpios. It's something that, you know, growing up as a kid, you know what your own kids are, you know everyone's a sun sign. But there's more to it. And if you know your birth date, the time you were born and where you were born, you can get your moon and rising sign, and those are also super important. So what we learned was that the sun sign represents our ego and motivations, the moon governs our emotional nature, and the ascendant or rising, those terms are interchangeable, sign speaks to the energy that we put out into the world.
That's so cool.
It's so cool, right?
How did we not know this? How does everyone not know this, by the way? But we uncovered this, and this adds a new layer to what we're researching. It adds such a new layer. And understanding ourselves.
Right, and getting to know yourself better. And they say that, like, if you can look up all of these about yourself and start to have a better picture of your full...
It's more well-rounded. It makes sense. I think a lot of people, too, have a sign that... I've heard people say, yeah, I'm kind of it, but kind of not. And this might... explain it to you.
Yep.
And you might find out, oh, my moon is something else, and oh my gosh, that's really me. You know, so it just adds great layers. Love it. And I don't know how we didn't know, but it is one of my favorite discoveries.
How do we not know that? It's like, all right, the next one is when you ask for a sign, you usually get one.
Yes.
I mean, it's basic, but this has been further like resolved to me, and I believe even more from this podcast and from doing signs and telling people to ask for signs and all the feedback and all the notes and all of the texts and all the stuff from this community sharing this, that they're getting the signs they're asking for. You guys are getting signs. And
you guys are getting them.
And like we get them, and knowing that everyone else does too, it's been one of my, I think, top favorite aha moments.
I don't know if I shared this with you, but one of the comments I had got from someone, I think from Instagram, had direct messaged me that their sign that day was specifically an orange cat, and they took the note to be descriptive. And she did not see an orange cat, but that exact day was listening to our Medium podcast, and you told a story and you said orange cat. So, her sign came through you speaking on our podcast. So not only a sign, but it shows connectivity and where signs could come from. It was very awesome.
That's so cool.
Is that cool?
Yes.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, number 4, and we haven't talked a ton about this, but I feel like this is something that's come up for me a lot, is that gratitude and like gratitude journaling or like being aware and appreciate the little things in life and the big things on a daily basis can be a form of meditation. Yes. So one of the things, like you talk about meditation a lot and you're very good at sticking to it and dedicated to it, and it's made you come so far. And I've had kind of that ups and downs with meditation where I do it but not as frequently. But I've realized in this that I do a gratitude like app every day, and it's become kind of like my own version of meditation. Right. So you can find your own thing, and I feel like that is one of my like aha moments.
For sure. You've been awesome at it. It's the coolest thing. She showed me, you guys, and you can add pictures to it too, but you started it when you were in deep grief. So now you have this collection of, look how much abundance is in my life, even if you're having a bad day. You look up days and days and days and days. Over 2 years you've been doing it. Yeah. What a beautiful thing to see. But also another, like, can't wait to talk about abundance and manifestation, but they say the first steps to it and to healing, it like is a true healing tool, is gratitude. It allows you to see what you should appreciate starting at the smallest. It could raise your vibration on a bad day to go up. It could do so much. So it's a big, beautiful one. I think it's worthy of digging into.
Yes, for sure, for sure. All right. So the next one is that signs can come from other people, or other people's signs can be for you.
Totally.
So like, we know we've talked about like that with that woman who got a sign, but like if you're hearing this story right now and she got the orange cat sign, it can be for you too.
As well.
So it's like one of those things that like, I don't know, we've, like some of them, like the mediums and the people, like the healers that we've talked to, like when we're telling each other this story, sometimes we're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense for me too. Like when you and I are talking, and that could have been for us too.
Exactly.
Like it's hard for me to like articulate, but you know what I'm saying? Like where it's like when someone else is even telling you a story about something they heard or they got, it's meant for you too.
1,000,000%.
Does that make sense, right?
I do get what you're saying.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
They do too.
All right, I just want to make sure.
It is like signs come from other people, and if you're hearing someone say they had a great experience, but that's your sign too. First of all, that's an easy and big one. But there's other ones that are deeper and smaller. And that's something else that would be like my little 2 cents. If it feels true, it is. Yeah. That's something we've learned.
Oh my God, we say that. We we beat that one.
I think
we love that, but it's true.
But I can't. So true. But I can't But I have to I'll marinate on it for a minute. But one thing that I learned and have leaned into so strongly in the last 2 years if I have goosebumps now, I used to be like, oh, fun, goosebumps. Now I'm like, oh, this is a yes moment. My body's physically saying yes. But that goes with what you're saying. So often if you're hearing a story and someone's telling you a cool story and you get the goosebumps, that is your body saying, I believe what that person's saying, and yes.
Oh my God. So that is so good. That's not on my list, but I feel like that, but that's one of yours. And I know it was, because when I was making this list, I'm trying to think in terms of me and you, because I know there's things that you've learned, but that's actually one of the things I remember you telling me so long ago is that your body gives you yeses and nos. And if you can identify a yes or a no, like maybe the no's a pit in your stomach, maybe like, you know, like maybe it's a ringing in your ears, the yes is goosebumps, like that your body can physically give you your intuition's message.
That's right.
So cool. That's a good one. Oh, good. Good adding. And then the next one's like a small one, but I feel like it kind of goes with this too. It's not a small one, but it's like kind of like a B. Like the first one was A, this is B, but like the kids can help us connect.
Yes.
So I feel like our children have been such another little avenue to help us believe and to remind us and to be there for us. They've been such a gift in this journey as we're doing this.
Totally. Well, they're so innocent. We were talking even your youngest in particular. He's just so connected. But even our older children as well, like the world has not influenced them yet, and they have really beautiful thoughts. They're worthy of listening to. They have cool stories. But talking about living out something that is your sign too. Whenever Isabel has something happen, it feels like it's happening to me.
Yes.
I always think, yay, us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I love that one.
Yes. So this is like a little bit of like a deeper one. And so I hope I do it justice when I share it. So you are not your thoughts. And again, it's crazy to think it's taken me all these years of my life to really be able to like say that and believe it, that the monkey mind that you have is not you. It's your brain. It's your, it's your protector to keep you safe, but it's not necessarily the soul that you are here or like what your journey is about. And so you have this like rational mind that speaks to you all the time, is constantly going. Like you are not just that. You're not your thoughts, but your intuition can speak to you in the same way. So you have to be able to differentiate when it's like your monkey mind or when it's like your actual intuition speaking to you, because it can come in through the same way. And I saw a good example of this, which was like someone's like, if the Amazon person comes every day and delivers like the same stuff you get all the time, it's not very exciting. They're delivering the dog food or whatever you ordered, and it's just like the same stuff's coming through. But then all of a sudden you get like one day the package you've been waiting for, and it's like it's a surprise package that someone sent you as a gift. Like that's the difference between
I love that.
So I thought that was like a good example to try to wrap your head around it, because it's like it's much deeper and there's books written on it, and like there's a lot to but in a very basic way. And there's a quote I found that I think really nicely articulates this, which is like one of the coolest things that I've read in a long time. And I'm going to make you guess who it's from. All right. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. You got to guess.
I know that this is a smart person.
It is. It's actually somebody
I feel like
you're not going to be able to guess. But once I tell you, you're going to be like, oh my God. Albert Einstein
Yep, that makes total sense.
Right?
Which is wild.
Right. It's actually wild that it does make total sense because he's a scientist, but he knew this. Like, he knew that, like, the spirituality is, like, part of everyone.
Well, then it's divination too. Like, so it's the ability to tap into that voice and hear it.
Yes.
And say, okay, put away ego, and there's something else coming in here. And, you know, I have to expand, obviously. That's what I love about meditating. And I've told you, every other day, it's my ego sitting with me, and those suck. But there are days, and I've had a couple weeks where I have not been able to meditate well. That's the honest truth. I've had a real rough time.
Yeah.
And the other day, I finally was there again. And when I found myself in the sweet spot of hearing, I was literally just... It was light and it was warm, and I heard thoughts, and I knew it came in my voice, same voice, same Amazon driver.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was the big present, and I felt the difference. I felt the energy was different. It was light, and I had a message come through, and I was like, oh, you're back. I'm back. I heard you. So there is a way to do it.
We, again, I think we have to say one more time what we always say is that sweet spot. We have discovered over these past years that there is a sweet spot, and that's a sweet spot. It's a sweet spot between being in your rational mind and actually feeling like your soul and what they're trying, like what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
And I think we've both gotten there in different ways, and now we're able to identify it, and that has been one of the coolest things on this journey.
Agreed.
All right, good. That was a heavy one. Okay, the next one is that I wish I had astrocartography 10 years ago.
Oh my
Or like
goodness,
15 years ago, maybe.
Oh.
I think it's so cool, and I want anybody who like hasn't tried it to try it because it's so neat. But if you're at a point in your life where you're trying to make a decision about where to move, I feel like that is such a gift.
How could you not do it?
Right. So that's just like a baby one. So the next one is that angels aren't just religious, and that you can access them, and we all have them. I think going into this, I've always thought of angels as a very in religious context.
Agreed.
And this has opened my eyes that angels don't have to just be one religion, that everyone has a guardian angel, that you can call upon them. And I think like one of the things I liked too was that hearing that like, hey, they're here with you always, but you need to ask them, or basically not even ask, but allow permission for them to like insert themselves, or I'm not insert themselves. They'll help you the more you ask for, or the more you want it. Yeah. And I think that's neat. And again, who knows if it's true, but I feel like I believe that.
Well, yeah, you initiate contact in a way.
Yeah.
So they are always there,
right?
But that you do ask and say, "Join me today." You know,
yeah.
And that's why, as cheesy as it sounds, when we start each of our podcasts, that we say, "Clara," like when we learned that, we started saying, "Clara, join us and allow this to be coming from the heart today," or whatever. And we're asking for that moment. Yep. And yes. So with you on that. Thought they were religious, love that they're everything and all-encompassing, and they're just love. They're like a loving energy that supports the flow of our best needs.
Yes, I'm so much more into angels now, knowing that they're everywhere. And one of the things I liked too is that the permission, but then also the thank you. Like when you get a sign, when you feel an angel, when you feel supported, like, and me and you do that, like after the podcast, we're like, thanks, Clara. So, even though we do, I'm still embarrassed to say it's crazy, but it's so funny. But yeah, we do it, and I feel like that's something, again, it's become part of my, me, just thank angels.
We are out
and thanks for the signs. Oh my God. Okay, so the next one is more of like a saying, but I feel like it's resonated with us, so we'll share it. It's that first, we are human beings, not human doings. So we have to be in order to receive and to feel, and that's with the, being grounded, being within yourself. And kind of the second part of that, and this is, I think, one of our top 5 favorite quotes, is that we are spirits living a human experience.
Yes.
And so that has permeated, I feel like, our journey way before the podcast. We heard that quote, and it's been like such a big part of everything that we've done.
It is really ingrained in us now, but do you remember when we first heard it? It actually was like someone saying that aliens are real. When I first heard it, instead of it resonating right away, it felt like, what is this jargon you're saying?
Yeah.
And over time, this is like one of the deepest integrations of knowing that has landed. And it's so funny. It was like almost the opposite, where I was like opposed to that comment, and now it's everything.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit your other comment about soul and ego. it relates a little bit, but what it really is saying, I'm a soul. I'm not just this body that I'm living in. And it relates to all of our talks on believing in past lives too. That's the soul. That's the soul having a human experience, and it's not just this one. But I love this term, and it took a long time to sit in.
Well, and I remember when the first time we like heard it, we're like, "Oh, that's cool," and we're like, "But it didn't register." Yeah. But like, "Oh, it's interesting." And then like again, it's integrated into us, and I think it's part of as we've more and more so slowly started believing more in past lives and reincarnation. It makes more sense. It's like as we're starting to believe in more things and learn about more, we're like, "Oh, it really does make sense to us." And so, I more recently saw something that actually adds on to that, which I thought was really cool too, and I'm buying into it, is that everyone is on a spiritual path / journey, just some on purpose. Yeah. So I feel like that kind of, does that make sense with the first quote?
Totally.
That makes absolute sense. So much sense. Like we're all on a spiritual journey. We're all spirits living the human experience. That's right. But only some of us are like trying or aware. I think that's...
I love that. I guess we're creating a community of people who have chosen on purpose. If you're curious, there's an intent.
Yes, exactly. All right, the next one, which came up last night as I was looking at the biggest blue moon.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And we're not going to have the same moon until 2037.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is insane. So this next one is so cool, which we learned, is that you wish, manifest, and plant seeds on the new moon.
Yes.
And that you release, surrender, forgive, and shed on a full moon.
Yeah.
Again, had no idea there was any rhyme or reason to what you do at the moons. Didn't even think about a new moon until we started doing this. Yeah. And now I freaking love that.
I couldn't agree more. And this is something it's actually simple. There's so many layers to moon in astrology, and this has become one that we realize is very easy to do. To do both these two actions on those 2 days a year. Right. And so we both do it for the most part.
Right, we try.
Life gets crazy, but it just feels like you're kind of one.
Right, and you can do it in 2 minutes. Yeah. It's so cool. You go outside and try to see the moon and like the darkness of the new moon. And I
may or may not have gone to the dock the other night and burned paper with a wish on it and released it.
It was, as you had to. I spent some time outside making some wishes with the dog. That moon is beautiful. And my other obsession with this is that because our body is made up of so much water and the moon controls the oceans, how could it not control us? Yeah. Like that has been something that I'm like, I probably said it to you 1,000 times. Like I'm obsessed with that.
But it makes a lot of sense.
Makes so much
when
sense.
Like the biology of it makes sense.
I love when the science makes sense.
The science matches with the
so
woo-woo.
Cool.
Yeah. It does a lot actually in our investigation.
Oh my God, it's like Albert Einstein saying this.
I love it.
1,000,000%. All right, the next one is you have to take time to integrate the stuff you hear, the stuff you learn when you go to any sort of service, when you try a modality. Your initial reaction may not be your final takeaway.
That's really
And we've learned that a lot.
That's awesome. So true. And I think that happened massively in your past life regression. Mm-hmm. First of all, you were almost skeptical. And then over time, we met later after, did the first one, then came back, and you had a completely different interpretation. And you just need time. Your body needs time.
Right. And it became such a different understanding of like what my soul was trying to overcome.
Yep.
Was that it came with the themes of other things I had learned. And we've done this a lot too. Like even with your medium, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Right after your medium, you were super skeptical. You're like, oh, it didn't, this and that. And then a couple of days you're like, well, this was accurate. This was accurate. This was accurate. I'm like, oh my God, we need to do another show. But it's so true because when you first, and we've actually decided we're going to try not to talk to each other immediately afterwards. So we have a little bit of time because it was, we were becoming too negative right afterwards. Yeah. And then when our minds, I think our rational minds take over right afterwards because we were so in it, when it's happening, then afterwards we're like, wait a second, we have to start questioning. And so now we're not going to do that. The next one is that, and this one actually kind of flows right into this one, was that the themes that we've gotten permeate all modalities of our experience. Yep. And as we've seen this, it has not only made us stronger believers, but it's also starting to what we believe show us our soul's journey.
Yes.
Right?
And back to the other comment about being souls is that we keep seeing this theme. And like you said, modalities, So what that word's a funny word. What does that mean? Exactly. Modality is everything we're trying. Astrocartography, whether it's tarot cards, whether it's a psychic, whether it's a shaman, all the different ways you can get in touch with, the universe or your spirit or whatever, just to clarify.
I'm glad you said that, because my husband's like, why do you use the word modality?
I know.
Like, why do you use this fancy word? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, we don't know a better word.
We don't know what, but it's all the things.
The word that's all the things, and it works. But just to clarify, because we do reference it, is that every person we've gone to who don't know each other come up with the same very specific and unique theme every time. And, if we're your guinea pigs, guys, like, we've done like 20 things this year. Seriously. And that might be an understatement. I haven't counted, because there's things we haven't even shared with you yet that we've done. And the same theme comes out. And for us, we've always said we're collectors of evidence. This is literally one of the biggest collectors of evidence for me, is that these people who don't know each other from different crafts of spirit are coming and saying, Jenny, this is your thing you're overcoming. And Carissa, this is your thing you're overcoming. And then what's cool too is, quite frankly, you guys, you're sharing your stories with us through text, through email, through direct message on Instagram, and we're hearing the same thing for other people. And that's even more validating, that we're not alone anymore in our rooms telling each other stories. But we have people that are sharing the same thing.
Love it.
On all of these notes that you're taking, by the way.
It's been quite the journey. It's so fascinating. Totally. All right, the next one is another little one, but I love it, is that when you wish on a birthday cake, it's a spell.
That was a new thought.
That. I never thought of that ever. And then when we heard it, we're like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. And so again, it's bringing back the things that have been shoved in the closet and we don't talk about, but it does still hit us in different ways in our life now.
Right. So we incorporated in our lives is ritual without us even knowing it. We're wishing a beautiful intent to the person on their birthday.
Right. I love it.
Do sing song.
Right. Oh, yeah. The birthday song. And then they make a wish on the candle. Don't tell anybody.
That was a fun nugget.
It's so good. All right. So the next one is that, and I might have mentioned this a little bit already, but like that guides, there's different guides for all things. So again, when we talked about Clara in the beginning, like we consider her like our podcast. So I like that there's different, you can talk to different guides and angels for all different things in your life.
Who knew? There isn't just this guardian angel. There's literally a million different ones. I'm reading a book that I don't know if I've shared with you, but I will put it out there to be shared. And it is Ask Your Guides. And it gets into what all the guides and angels and the categories that are around you every day and how you ask for them and what they do, so you know who you want to approach, which is so cool.
I love that.
But that book's new that I'm reading, so it's too much to get into, but certainly a future episode. But it's really cool to know that. So there's helper angels, and there's ones that are just for SOS angels in emergency, and then there's the ones that are soul purpose angels, or just to a project like Clara.
Or angels to help you find things. Angels when you're in traffic. Like it's
and guides.
And guides.
Who knew are different than angels, and that's a knowledge. That's a learning of a knowledge, and these are different entities. Yikes. This is like a whole huge topic. I can't even get into it.
It's big.
Obviously, we'll circle back. But yes, that's all new.
Yes.
So cool.
Okay, I love it. Now the next one is one I know, Jenny, you're going to be all over this one. You're going to be 100% with it. Is that when we started this, and we came up with this idea, and we were sitting at dinner, and we were like, oh, all these things we've been talking about. Oh, we should write a book. And then we're like, you know what? We should do a podcast, which is hilarious. I work for a podcast company and didn't even think of doing a podcast. So we were sitting there that day. And so we started doing a podcast, and then we're like, will it ever go live? Will we even do this? We started recording, and we started, really putting time into it, and we enjoyed it, but we didn't know if it would actually go live. And then we were wondering if we actually were brave enough to have it go live, would anybody listen? Would there be a community? And what we have learned is yes, there is. And so we are so grateful and so happy that, we're like, are we the only ones wanting to know about this woo-woo stuff? Like, it's a little like, is it just us? And what we're finding from all of you who are listening, that we're not alone. And it has been so validating and so nice and so reassuring to know that like there are so many others out there like us who just want to know more.
Yeah. This one makes me emotional. Like, you just say it like I'm getting. But one of my meditation downloads before we got brave enough to say, yes, let's do it. Remember, I kept hearing, find your tribe. It's time to find your tribe. And it just like blows me away that it's real and it's true. And I'm going to tell you, like, if you've messaged us, you're actually not alone. You guys are all in this together, and it is a community, and there are people. It blows my heart, my mind, right now, everything. Yes. It is so awesome. We are in this together. And one of my favorite messages from someone that they wrote was, thank you for allowing me to come out of the woo-woo closet, because I've had these curious questions. And what I loved is that I think the same person had said, and I've heard this before, was it's not that there aren't podcasts on the subject. There are, but they often are very in one category, and often from an expert or someone who's all in on crystals or all in on psychic or all in on astrology. And our idea, it's not that spirituality exploration is different. Ours was, can we be like normal people in the normal world with these questions, 1 foot in, 1 foot out? I think at the end of the season, we might be both feet out with a flag in our hand. but what we found is like, there's a woo-woo closet.
Yes.
And I think that our listeners and our tribe are in some variation of opening the door. Whether your feet are 2 out and you've got the flag with us, or your toes coming out, like, you're our people and you're not alone. Like, the amount of people that have stepped forward that are just like every walk of life, every type of person, to parents, grandparents, to younger, to older. Like, I mean, I had someone I didn't even know listening who's just felt like a mom at the school who I'm not friends with, told me, like, I'm loving this. These are questions I've had. And that made me so happy. I've had brides when I used to be a wedding planner in California who were past clients from a decade ago reach out to me saying that they had followed along on this journey and like, thank you for sharing it. It has like just blown me away to hear about who is on this journey with us.
Right.
Because we're talking, guys, not at you, with you.
Right.
We're your people.
But we're trying to understand it too.
Also,
right.
Yeah, I love it. I feel the sense of building of a community of people who are curious.
1,000,000%. And we've always been kind of getting cards and talking to each other. And like in a lot of the sessions and things that we've done, one of the commonalities that we've both gotten from different readings and meditations is shine your light. Yes. Because we've both been, we don't talk about this. We're both quiet. We're both like Scorpios. We're kind of, and so we've been getting the shine your light. And now we are shining our light and drawing in our tribe. And we've been hearing that like, as we shine our light, it allows others to. And so we want to say thank you for allowing us to do this and encouraging all of you to keep doing it, keep sharing, because it makes us feel so good. And we know as you share, you hopefully feel a little bit brighter too and more connected. That's like our goal with this whole thing. And our goal with this whole thing the entire time has been if we can heal and help one person. The one person. Because we always say, if you heal one, you heal them all, right? Is that like our thing too? Totally. That's like been like such a, I didn't have that on my list, but that has been one of our learnings. So the last one, and it's a big one, but I 1,000,000% believe this now, and it's that everyone is intuitive.
I love it.
Everyone has it. Every single person. And again, it comes down to how you access it, how close you are to it, how much you want, if you want to build on it, but that it's that everyone is intuitive. And it's funny because when we first started this, you especially have always felt that you've, been intuitive. I feel, again, you always feel a little special because you've gotten signs, you've gotten things. And I remember when we first started before the podcast, it was kind of like, wait a second, these books we're reading are saying that everyone has it. I feel like is that true? We're not special. And we started being like, wait, we're not special. And I will say now, I'm actually happy that we're not special now.
Agreed.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're all in this together. It has been such a mind shift because at first I was like, ew, like I don't want everybody to like be able to do this or feel intuitive. Like you were the exact same way. We're both like, oh, I want to be special, but it's great to not be special. And it's beautiful. And it makes me feel better to know that everyone has this ability. And again, it makes us all feel like spirits and souls. And so it's been a big learning.
I do too. And I think that's something that as we keep exploring, that's probably one of the subjects I want to get into the most is, all right, you're listening and you're curious. We're listening to ourselves and we're curious. Yeah. Is how do we grow this? How do we tap in? And that's one of the best parts of the journey is not just to seek people who are telling us things, but how do we seek our own teachings from us, inside of us? And like, what do we have within us that we don't even need to go to a healer for? So that's been fun. Yeah. It's like really truly to explore both sides. Okay, this is cool. You're a shaman, but how can I tap into the same energies and find an answer myself today before I go to sleep?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
That is one of my favorites too.
So that's my list. I don't know if you have anything off the top of your head
put me on the spot. Well, I love it. I feel like that's super comprehensive. I think you hit it all. I think my overarching, just as far as relating it to the podcast and having a sense of people, is connectivity too. Is the word oneness has confused me and meant different things along the journey. Like, what does that mean? I'm you, you're me, me,
yeah.
Okay, the person who is, checking you out at the grocery store is one, in a sense of you. I'm starting to see that, and I really feel that with the stories I'm getting from our friends who are listening. Is I just feel the oneness where your story is my story, my story is your story, and that's something that's super cool.
Well, and I think to add to that, like, we want more of your stories.
Yeah, please,
like we're going to start, we want to start not just sharing our own moves, we want to share yours. And we're going to start incorporating listener stories because some of these stories are too good not to share. Yeah. And as we look at season 2, like, that's like the content and the info that we want is to help further the oneness and like to show others that.
I want this to be your story too.
Yeah.
We want to share more of yours. Someone had an awesome idea about doing a live event. We've even talked about like doing a cacao ceremony or hosting something locally. There's a lot of stuff that we think we want to grow upon now that we know we're not alone. Yeah. We've got our tribe.
Right.
And, but just to talk about like what's happening next, we're so excited. You guys have been awesome at sharing what you like best. And it's funny, but as you hear the episodes, I don't know if we've really shared this, but they were wildly out of order. Yeah. So if you felt like, wait, what time of year was this or whatever, what we had done was we did this over a year and a half, our recordings. And, honestly, in the beginning, they were probably crappier. And we didn't know what we were doing or what resonated. And over time, I think we figured out, like, for example, we hear loud and clear that before and afters everyone loves. Yeah. So we are going to, like, the experiential stuff. Yeah, also heard, like, funny enough, the story, we didn't want to tell you the witch retreat story because we were embarrassed that we ended up there. That ended up being one of the favorites. So we know that we want to go find funny stuff to go try.
Well, and we'll share more funny stuff because sometimes we're like, we don't know if it's too like about us, and so but we're like, hey, we'll give you the real deal. Yeah, we'll give you the real deal.
But so we're actually going to investigate things that are in our area that we could travel to that are like kind of immersive experiences. Yeah. And we'll always be truthful. We're always truthful. So we're going to look into stuff like that. But there's some real fun stuff I'm looking forward to getting into. And now I understand who we're talking to because you've introduced yourselves to us. And so we know what like you're looking for too.
If anyone has like things that we may have never heard of, that's like what we're looking for. Because it's, the stuff that you're like, I never even heard of that ends up being some of the coolest stuff.
One thing that we're going to make a list after we stop recording of what we're doing. A word you had heard was like sacred geometry. Yep. I want to talk about time as a construct that doesn't exist. Yep. Dream interpretations. Yep.
Ancestral healing. Like there's
healing.
So like
womb healing.
Yep.
I mean, it's
and then there's like the basic stuff that we haven't talked about. Manifestation, chakras. Like there's a lot on the list, and we're going to get to that. But I think overall, like we've learned so much, and I think we've adapted, and so we still appreciate everyone's feedback and how we can continue to make this something that helps and is entertaining, but like so that we can all learn from it.
Totally. Love it.
Well, anything else before we wrap up season 1?
No, I love it. I'm happy. This is so exciting. Happy. I had no idea. And this supports everything. So, like, keep it going, guys. And while we're, like, collecting our thoughts for what's coming next, like, tell us what you think. Go to Instagram, direct message us. Yeah. We're reading them, and we're actually taking notes. I want to hear what you want us to do. Like, 1,000,000,000% we're your guinea pigs. Like, let us go do it.
Yep, and tell us your woo-woo.
That's my call to action. And then I guess, you know what? Like, we're not usually marketing, like let's put ourselves out there. But I'm going to say that if you could tell one person that doesn't know about our podcast, you can help grow this. And that would be amazing and mean the world to us. So every one of you, if you've listened to every episode, if you've made it here, hello, you're our people. But if you can tell one person, hey, you got to hear this, you have no idea, but you're growing a community. You're spreading the light. You're spreading the love. And thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you. Yay.
Love you, Carissa.
Love you, Jenny.
We did it. Yay. We put it in the world.
We did it. Wow. I know.
We did it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.